The following program has been rated PG-13.
Shalom, Israel, giving honor and praise to the Most High God for the reading and the understanding of His word. And I just want to say once again, Israel, I want to wish every king, every queen, every prince, and every princess, I want to wish you a wonderful, magnificent Sabbath. And I thank you once again for bringing in the Sabbath with me here with your brother. And we are going to bring it in right. And especially tonight, because tonight we are going to be talking to our youth. That's right. I'm going to be talking to you, to our youth. Now, I want to make this very, very clear. I'm going to be talking to you in a way that you're not used to being spoken to. I want you to understand that number one, I respect you, and number two, we hear you. All right? So, just to let you know, this is not going to be one of those lessons where it's going to be like, get your education, kids, and listen to your parents. That's out the window. No. I'm going to be showing you some things that you have probably never known before. I'm going to be showing you some things that your parents probably have never taught you. All right? But I don't want you to hold any grudges. I want you to let all of that go. All I want you to do is to open your minds, open your ears, get in these scriptures and read and listen to what I'm saying to you, okay? So, I want to make sure we understand that. This is a mutual respect thing here. And parents, I need y'all to do me a favor tonight. I need you to leave them alone. No snide comments, none of those and all that stuff. I don't want none of that tonight. I want to make sure that you and your child are on the very same level, which is open ears, open hearts, open minds, and susceptible to these scriptures. All right? So that's how we're going to do it tonight. So first things first, for our men, if you have anything that's on your head, go ahead and take it off. For our sisters, if there's nothing on your head, I want you to go ahead and put something on. That's what you have to do when the scriptures come out according to the Bible. All right. So let's go ahead and get right into this. Now, just to let you know, the format tonight is going to be just a little bit different in respect to our youth because of their attention span. All right. Their attention span is a lot quicker than ours. So I have to make sure that I keep up with that pace. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. First things first, I want you to open your Bible to Romans chapter 9 and verse 4. We are going to start this off with that. Why are we going here? Because now, youth, I want to ask y'all a question. Do y'all know who y'all really are on this planet? Do you know who the God of Israel, who he told you that you are? So, just in case if you're not familiar, you are an Israelite. If you are a Black, Hispanic, or Native American prince or princess, you are the chosen child of the Most High God of Israel, the only God that there is. And he chose you. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in. Romans chapter 9 and verse 4. I'm about to show you who you are. Watch this. Who are Israelites, which is you? To whom pertaineth the adoption, meaning chosen, and the glory, we're going to come back to glory, and the covenants, meaning promises, and the giving of the law, meaning the commandments, the laws, statutes, and commandments. The Most High God said he only gave the laws to the Israelites, which include you, and the service of God and the promises. All right, so I want to go back here to this word glory. So you see who you are. The Most High God said that you are an Israelite. You are his adopted child. He chose you over all people on the face of the earth. Now, let's get this glory. I want to read you the definition of glory. Watch this. You're going to see something here, because a lot of time this is not brought out. Listen to what the definition of glory is. High renown or honor won by notable achievements. All right? That's just one definition. Listen to the next one. Magnificence or great beauty. Do you see that? That is what the Most High God said about you, prince and princesses. magnificence and beauty. And he didn't just put this to certain Israelites. He said about all of us. Magnificence and beauty. Now, what does the worldly academic curriculum teach about who we are? That we're nothing more than a bunch of African booty scratchers that came in on ships and was put into slavery. And then these white men gave us some freedom, and now all of a sudden we're going through segregation. We can do certain things, and we have Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and Marcus Garvey, and that's pretty much the extent of who we are. No, not at all. That is not what the Most High God said. You just read what the Most High God said about us. So we're going to get into more of this, all right? So now let's go ahead and go to 2 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 22. 2 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 22. Watch this. We're going to continue on with this. Watch this. This is in continuation of who you are. Are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they the seed of Abraham? So am I. Now, the book of Corinthians was taught by our forefather, Paul. All right? That's who it is. And you see what he's saying here? He's saying, are you a Hebrew? So remember, they told us that we were African Americans. They told us that we were Puerto Ricans. All right? And Guatemalans and Mexicans. Okay? They told us that we were Jamaicans and Trinidadians and Guyanese. That is not what the Most High God called us. He said that we are Israelites. That is what you are. You are not an African American. You are not a Puerto Rican. You're none of those things. Those are called bywords. And that was something that was put on us in the curses. All right. So if you read Deuteronomy Chapter 28, 15 through 68, and I want every last one of you to do that. Those are the curses that was put on us. All right. But for the lesson here tonight, we're going to keep this very lean and very stream. All right. So I want you to understand that. Remember, you are a Hebrew. You are not an African. All right, so now let's go ahead and go to Exodus chapter 11. I'm going to show you that you are not an African. I want you to go to Exodus chapter 11 and verse 7. Okay, listen to this. Listen to this, youth. But against any of the children of Israel, which is you, shall not a dog move his tongue. Let's stop for a second. The Most High said, you are the children of Israel, and a dog shall not move its tongue. It's not talking about the whoop, whoop, whoop. It's not talking about that. The Most High God calls the other nations dogs. And the Most High said that they are not able to move their tongue against you. In other words, they're not allowed to talk crap about you. They can't say nothing about you. Why? Because you are the chosen child of the Most High God. You are his precious apple in the eye of God. That is how much the Most High love you, but we're not going to get ahead of ourselves, though. Let me finish reading. Watch this. I'm going to start again. But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue, against man or beast. So I want you to understand, the Most High said that not only are the humans not allowed to talk about you, but these humans are not even allowed to talk about your animals. So let's say, for instance, you got a cat or dog or a fish or something in the house. The Most High God said, you are so great that they are not even allowed to talk about your animals. Let's continue. That ye may know how that the Lord doth put a difference. Doth means does. How the Lord doth put a difference between the Egyptians, which are Africans, and Israel. You're not African. And that's according to the scriptures. You are not African. So anytime that anybody calls you an African American, you correct them and say, first of all, I'm not an African American. I'm an Israelite. I'm a Hebrew. And don't you forget it. Get your mind right. All right? So now let's go ahead and go to Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. Now, I'm going to show you something right now that maybe your parents never taught you, nobody's ever taught you, and your schools definitely didn't teach you about this, and your pastors that's up in that Christian church didn't teach you about this either. Watch what the Most High God says. Watch this. Deuteronomy Chapter 7, verse 6. For thou art an holy people. Holy means separate. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen. Remember, we talk about the adoption. Hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself. Meaning that he is selfish with you. Above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Above, youth. Do you understand that, prince and princesses? The Most High God said, you are above everybody else on the earth because you are his chosen special people. Now, how many of your pastors told you that when your parents had you up in Christian church? They never told you that. Your teachers never told you that, and a lot of your parents never told you that either. But I'm telling you what the Most High God said about you, that you are special. And because you are special, there are things about you that now that you're coming into this truth that you need to change about yourself. And I'm letting y'all know right now, I'm going to be saying some things to y'all that you would probably never expect anybody to say to you. I'm going to say it tonight, though. I'm going to say it tonight. Now, we're going to transition from who you are, and now we're going to go into what you are, because you're not only a who on this planet, but you are a what. All right? So now, I want you to go ahead and open your Bible to now, Revelation Chapter 1. And we're going to go down to verse 3. Revelation Chapter 1, verse 3. Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, meaning a future event, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. Now, the time at hand is now. All the things that's happening on this planet. We are in the last days, princes and princesses. We're in the last days. Which means that all of this here, all of this nonsense and corruption on the earth is getting ready to wrap up. Meaning that Christ and the chariots are on their way back. All right? Now, I want you to jump down to verse 6. I want you to now understand and accept what you are. Watch this. And hath made us kings and priests unto God and his Father. To him be glory and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Do you see what the Most High God called you? Kings and priests. Now, when you speak of the Bible speaks in a male-female vernacular, but it's mainly on a male perspective. But it's talking to the men and the women. So, if you come from a king, if you're born, right? That means that you have a father and a mother. So right now we're going to talk about the king. If you are born of a king, what are the children of kings and queens called? Princes and princesses, which means that you are royalty. Do you understand me? You are royalty. This is not a joke. You're not a diva. You're not a nigger. You are royalty. You are literally a prince and a princess on this planet. That is what you are. That is what these other nations don't want you to know. They don't know. They don't want you to know who you are. The biggest crime on this planet is preventing you from knowing who and what you are. And you are royalty. We are kings, queens, princes, and princesses on this planet. And you better never forget it. But that's not it, though. Let's continue. Now, let's go ahead. I want you to go to 1 Peter chapter 2. 1 Peter chapter 2. Go down to verse 9. All right? Because we just getting into it. Now, remember how we talked about the Most High saying that we are the chosen ones? Watch this. But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should shew forth the praises of him who hath called you out of the darkness into his marvelous light. Do you see that? You princes and princesses, do you see that? The Most High God said that he called you out of your darkness into the light, and that you are royalty walking on this planet. And with you being royalty, you have responsibilities. But we'll get into that later, though. We'll get into that later. Now, let's go to Exodus chapter 19. Exodus. Now, that was New Testament. Now we're going to go back to the Old Testament. I'm going to show you that it says the same thing. Exodus chapter 19. And let's go down to verse 6. All right, watch this. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and an holy nation. Do you see how it keeps saying the same thing? Old Testament and New Testament. The Most High God said that you are royalty on this planet. Don't you ever forget it. Let me continue reading. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel, which is you. Now, do you see how he did not mention all of the other people? We'll get into that there. But he's taking you and separating you from everybody else. He said that you Black, Hispanic, and Native American, that you are the children of Israel and that you are royalty on this planet. Special, peculiar. And I really want y'all to start identifying with not only who you are, but what you are. This needs to be going in those ears of yours. Let's continue. Now, I want you to go to Revelation chapter 5 and verse 10. Now we're going to go back to the book of Revelation, which is the last book of the Bible, and you cannot get any more New Testament than that. Revelation chapter 5 and go down to verse 10. All right, watch this. And has made us unto our God kings and priests. Saying it again, all the way from the beginning, all the way to now, until the very end. That is what you are. And we shall reign on the earth. Rain on the earth. We're not talking about water coming out of the sky. We're talking about rain. R-E-I-G-N. Rain. So let's go ahead and get the definition of reign, because a lot of people don't know what that means. So let's go ahead and get it. What is the definition of reign? Now remember, you are princes and princesses. You are kings and queens. Watch this. Look at what it says. The definition of reign. Hold royal office. Rule as king or queen. Y'all not ready for this. Y'all are not ready to accept who you are. Now let's look at the next one. Look down. The next one. The period during which a sovereign rules. We're going to be ruling forever. Right now, we are not in rulership because we broke the commandments of the Most High God. We broke his commandments and we broke his laws. That is why we are in the conditions that we are in now. But I don't want to jump ahead of myself, but I want to go ahead and put that seed in there because it's going to grow later. So now let's go ahead and go to Psalms chapter 82 and verse 6. Because you still have to know what you are. Yes, you are a prince. Yes, you are a princess, but you're even more than that. All right, watch this. Psalms chapter 82 and verse 6. Now, you're not going to believe this, but I'm telling you right now, you better, because this is coming right out of the Bible, and the Most High God said this about you. I have said, ye are gods. That's right, prince and princess. Did you hear what the Most High God said about you? He said, not only are you a special people, not only are you a peculiar people, not only are you royalty, but you are a God. Let's continue. And all of you are children of the Most High, the children of Israel. So as you see, he's not talking about the whole world. He's talking about his chosen, special, peculiar people, which is you. Verse 7. But ye shall die like men, and fall like one of the princes. That's these fake princes here. That's your Prince Charles, all right, and your Prince Harry's, and your Princess Meghan Markle, and what's the little ugly one, Kate, and her. Those are the fake ones. The Most High said he's laying them out. And like, we'll get into all that. We'll get into that. But he said that you are a God. You are above them, but you're going to die like men. Why are you going to die like men? Why did he make the comparison between a God and a man? Because he's showing you that you are not any ordinary man. You're not even a man at all. You are a God. You're different. You're not even a damn human being. But you're going to die like one. But why? Because we broke the commandment to the Most High. We went against his laws. We went against his rules. We went against his commandments. And he said, because of that, I'm going to have to take you down. I'm going to have to move you down. And I'm going to put you on the bottom. You belong on top. Remember, we read in Deuteronomy 7:6, above all people. But because you want to continuously break my laws, then I'm going to have to break my foot off in your ass. That's what he's saying. All right. So now I want you now to go to John chapter 10 and verse 34. That was the Old Testament that we read in Psalms. Now we're going to read in the New Testament. All right. John chapter 10 and verse 34. Watch this. Now, this is coming out of the mouth of Jesus Christ himself. Watch this. Is it not written in your law? I said, ye are gods? So even Christ is confirming what you are. Our big brother, the black Messiah. Because Christ is a black man. According to Revelation Chapter 1, 14 and 15. Christ is black. Black and beautiful, just like you. And he said, is it not written in your law? Is it not in your law that I said that you are a God? Watch this. Verse 35. If he called them gods, unto whom the word of God came, and the scripture cannot be broken. So do you see what Christ is saying right here? He said that the Most High God called you gods. And it's written in the law, it's in the word, and that cannot be broken. So what does that mean? That means that there cannot be any other person of these other nations. That means your white friends, your Indian friends, your Chinese friends, anybody that come to you and tell you that you are not a God, because it is written in the law that you are a God above all people, as we read. You see how special you are? I'm seriously asking you that question. Do you see and recognize how special you really are? So this whole mindset here of how we are today, the way that we live, the things that they give us on television, the things that they give us in school, you have to start changing your mindset now. You have to open your mind and open your ears to what the God of Israel is saying. Because he's telling you that you are so much different. He's telling you that you are better than what they told you you were. Because remember, like I mentioned earlier, all they told us that we were these damn Africans that came over from Africa, and we're not from Africa. We are from Jerusalem. We are from Israel. But when we started breaking the laws and the Most High started sending who's called the Edomites against us, and that today is white, those are white people. I want to make sure I use proper grammar. The Edomites are today white people, and they are the ones who took us into slavery. Now, the Africans, they are the ones that caught us and rounded us up because we were leaving from Jerusalem and going into Africa. Because if you look at a map, Israel and Africa, you can walk directly into Africa. Now, all of our forefathers used to make this trek on foot all the time. And so we ran into Africa, and the Africans that are not us, they were rounding us up and saying, okay, I'm going to sell all of you Israelites, I'm going to sell you to these white people so that they can take you into slavery. They hated us. They hated us all the way back then, and they still hate us today. Okay? Now, let's do this here. I want to jump ahead. Because being that I'm sitting here and I'm talking about all the slavery stuff here, I want to show you. I was going to save it to the end, but I want to do it now. I want you to go to Deuteronomy Chapter 28 and verse 68. As a matter of fact, go to verse 45. Let's start there. Deuteronomy Chapter 28 and verse 45. I want to read something here to you. All right, watch this. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed. So, what the Most High is saying right here, that he is going to put curses on his children because we broke his commandments. And he's saying that it's going to follow us wherever we go. And why? Let's find out why. Till thou be destroyed, being destroyed mentally, being destroyed spiritually. Because thou hearkenest, meaning thou hearkenest not, meaning listening, unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. So all of these curses are going to be put on us because we did not listen to the Most High God. Now, what is one of the major curses that was put on us? I want you to jump all the way down to verse 68 now. Verse 68, being that we're talking about slavery. Watch this. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. These are the slave ships. Now, Egypt means slavery, and we'll get that here in a second. I'm going to start over. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt, slavery again, with ships, the slave ships, the very same slave ships that your teachers taught you about. The very same slave ships that Columbus brought over for you Native Americans and Hispanics and the conquest of the conquistadors. That is why they celebrate Columbus Day. They celebrate you being in captivity. I'm going to read it one more time. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, by the way that I'm telling you is going to happen. Thou shalt see it no more again. See what? Our homeland, Jerusalem, not Africa, Jerusalem. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies. Now remember in school when they told you that you were sold on auction blocks, remember? And what did the Most High God call these people? He called them your enemies. For bondmen, slave men, and bondwomen, slave women, and no man shall buy you. Buy is a Quaker word meaning to redeem, to rescue you. Nobody's going to rescue you. Martin Luther King could not rescue you. Malcolm X could not rescue you. Marcus Garvey could not rescue you. Nobody is going to be able to rescue you until he decides when to send Christ and the chariots back on this earth to rescue us. All right, so remember, we talked about that word Egypt, right? Now, I want you to go to the book of Exodus, chapter 20, and go to verse 2. All right, I'm going to show you the definition of Egypt. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Now, another word for bondage is slavery. So I'm going to show you right there that the word Egypt means slavery, so that nobody, absolutely nobody, can sit there and tell you that that's not what it means. You read it for yourself in this Bible. And now, being that you read it, being that you see all these things, being that now you know that you are a chosen child of the Most High God, being that you are royalty, being that you are a God, guess what comes with that? It's called responsibilities. You have a responsibility being who you are. Why? Because you have to show the rest of the world how great you are. You have to show your own people how great we really are. And guess what? With the youth, a lot of us look at you. Let me tell you something right now. There are a lot of adults that look at you for several reasons. Why? Because a lot of these adults wish that they could be you again. They wish that they can be young. They wish that they could be vigorous. They wish that they could be exciting. They wish that they had your energy. But let me tell you something. From the way that the world has treated us and built us, okay? Well, actually not even built us, but broke us down. The way that the world broke us down, we're not a very pretty sight. We're not. Because we are not in our glory as we should be. We're not. So let's see what some of these responsibilities are, okay? So the first thing now I want you to do, I want you to go to Leviticus chapter 22. Leviticus chapter 22, and we're going to go to verse 31. Okay, and I'm going to show y'all something. Watch this. Therefore shall ye, meaning you, youth, keep my commandments and do them. I am the Lord. So the Most High just said right here, listen, you are a God, you are royalty, you are my chosen child, and I gave you commandments. Now, remember when we talked back in Romans when the Most High said that I gave you my laws, remember? He's only talking to you. He's only talking to us blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. He said, I gave you my laws and you better keep them. You better do them because I'm God and I said so. That's why. All right. So now let's go ahead. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 6. Deuteronomy chapter 6. Let's go to verse 1. We're going to start right here, verse 1. All right. Pay attention to this, youth. Watch this. Now these are the commandments, the statutes, and the judgments which the Lord your God commanded to teach you, that ye might do them in the land whither ye go to possess it. So it's saying it doesn't matter where you are on this planet. All right. You could be right here in America. You can be in Mexico. You can be in Guatemala. You can be in England. You can be anywhere. He said, wherever you are, you better keep my commandments. All right. Now go to verse 2. That thou mightest fear, remember that word, fear the Lord thy God, to keep all his statutes and his commandments, which I commanded thee. Now, this is Moses saying this here. And he said that he is commanding us through God to keep his commandments. Thou and thy son and thy son's son, all the days of thy life, and that thy days may be prolonged. So Moses is saying this. For the ones he was talking about back then, the Israelites that were standing right in front of him, to their children, and their children, and their children, and their children, all the way to you, to your children, and their children, and their children. That we are to keep these commandments all the days of our lives. And if we do, that our life is going to be prolonged, meaning that we're going to live long lives, not only here on earth, but also for our afterlife, meaning that we'll have eternity. Eternity. I'm not going to get there yet. We'll get there. All right. So now I want you to go to Ecclesiastes, the book of Ecclesiastes. I want you to go to verse 12. Excuse me, Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 13. All right. I want y'all to pay very close attention to this. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. What is the conclusion? The finality is like, what's the point? Let us get to the point of the whole thing, of the whole matter. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God. Now remember, we talked about fear. I told you, remember that. Fear God. Now, what does it mean to fear God? And keep his commandments. For this is the whole duty of man. Do y'all see that? The whole duty of man is to keep the commandments. The whole duty of you is to keep the commandments. You princes, princesses, even you kings and queens, the whole purpose for us are to keep the laws that the Most High God gave us. Bottom line, that's it. That's the conclusion of the whole matter. So if anybody was to ever ask you, why was I even born? Why was I even created? The answer is because you are supposed to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God. And you're going to find out why later. I'm not going to get to it yet. All right. So now let's go ahead and go to the book of Revelation, chapter 22 and verse 14. Revelation chapter 22 and verse 14. Watch this. Blessed. Do you know what blessed means? Blessed means that you are giving a high, holy praise, a great responsibility. Blessed, meaning blessings coming on you, being rewarded, and gifts on you. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life and may enter in through the gates into the city. So this promise right here is saying that you you, every king, queen, prince, and princess, you are going to be given life everlasting in a city that the Most High God created for us. In a city. Did y'all know that? A literal city that the Most High God created for us. So now we're going to see exactly what that city is. So I want you now to go back one chapter, go to Revelation chapter 21, and we are going to go down. We're going to start at verse 1. Revelation chapter 1. Now remember, we're talking about this city now. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth. So if there is a new one, so what's going to happen to this one? What's going to happen to this heaven? It's going to be destroyed. I'm going to read it again. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth were passed away. Y'all know what it means to pass away. It means to die. The Most High God is going to destroy this place. And there was no more sea. Watch this. And I, John, saw the holy city. The holy city. Now remember, the Most High God said we are a holy people. So there's going to be a holy city, meaning separate. A holy city for a holy people. New Jerusalem. That's what it's called. Because remember, we are from the original Jerusalem. But the Most High God is going to make a new Jerusalem coming down from God out of heaven. So this brand new city that the Most High has given us is coming out of heaven, coming straight down and being placed on the brand new earth. Now, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. So a lot of you know, especially you princesses and you queens, a lot of you have had many, many dreams and imaginations about your wedding day. And you already know on that day, you are supposed to be decked out and gorgeous and sparkling. Y'all know on that day you throw down. You know on that day, there's nobody prettier than you. Not even your bridesmaids. And if your bridesmaids was to try to come with anything, you're going to shut that down. So you know the beauty that it's talking about. Prepared for the bridegroom. That's how beautiful. That is how beautiful this is going to be. All right. Now, I want to go ahead and read this here. And verse 3, and I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them. I want y'all to pay attention to that the Most High God is going to dwell with us. He is going to be with us. And they shall be his people. And God himself shall be with them and be their God. Their God. Their God. Not everybody else's God. Their God. Your God, prince and princess. Your God. Verse 4. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain. Do you see the promise? Remember we were talking about the promises earlier? These are all the promises that's coming to us that keep the commandments. For the former things have passed away. Verse 5. And he sat upon the throne, said, behold, I make all things new. And he said unto me, write, for these words are true and faithful. Let me stop there for a second. The Most High God said that everything that he just told you just now, all throughout this Bible, but specifically from Revelation 1 here through 5, he said everything that he just told you just now is true and faithful. Truth meanings that it is 100% real, and faithful meaning you better believe it's going to happen. Right here. I'm going to ask y'all, have y'all heard this in church before? Now that pastor went ahead and told you that everybody is able to get in and this is going to happen for all people. Nope. It's going to happen for you. For us blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And we're going to find out what's going to happen with the other people. We're going to find out. Now, you were given this responsibility now, right? And we're kings, queens, princes, and princesses on this planet. And remember, the Most High God said that we were going to be in a sovereign rule. We're going to be in rulership. We're going to be in rulership. Now, if we are in rulership, that means that we have to rule somebody. We got to rule somebody. We're not going to rule each other. We got to rule somebody because, the Most High God rules Christ. Christ rules us. And now we have to rule somebody. So now we're going to find out who it is that we have to rule. So I want you to go now to Deuteronomy chapter. No, as a matter of fact, we talked about those two. 45 and verse 68 in chapter 28. We talked about them. Remember how the Most High God said that we have oppressors and that they were going to be ruling over us because we were in slavery. Remember that? We're in slavery now. We're still in slavery. But something is going to happen. Something is going to take place. Something is going to transpire. So now I want you to go to Revelation chapter 13 and verse 9. Revelation chapter 13 and verse 9. Now remember, we were in slavery, right? Watch this. Watch what Christ says is going to happen. Watch this. If any man have an ear, let him hear. So the Most High God is telling you and Christ is telling you, listen up. He that leadeth into captivity, meaning slavery, those people who took us into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. So the people that had us in slavery, the people that did all these horrible things to us, the people who are gunning us down in the streets and treating us like Breonna Taylor and George Floyd and Trayvon Martin, all these people, the ones who oppress you, the ones who look at you and tell you that you're nothing. The Most High God said that they got to go into slavery. They're going into slavery. And if they're going to be in slavery, who's going to be ruling them? You. Us. We're going to be ruling our oppressors. We're not done yet. Watch this. Now I want you to go to Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 21. That was New Testament and Revelation. Now let's go to the Old Testament. Now we're going to Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 21. And please forgive me with all the drink breaks, but I'm talking a lot and very fast. Isaiah chapter 21. Now remember what Christ just said, that we are going to kill them with the sword, right? Because they were doing the same things to us. And the sword can mean many things. It's a weapon. It's bullets. It's laser beams. All these things. Watch this. Watch this. Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity, meaning the sins of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. Do you see right there? That is a prophecy that's coming from the prophet Isaiah. And he's saying the very same thing that Christ said. The very same thing. Prepare slaughter. You know what slaughter is? Like when you slaughter a pig or you slaughter a cow or do something like that, it means to kill. It means to destroy, to slaughter them. The very same thing that Christ said. For the iniquities, for the sins of their fathers. What those people did to us all the way back into slavery, all throughout the years, all the way until now. They have to pay. They have to pay for what their fathers did the same way we have to pay for what our fathers did. Nothing changes. And as you see, with all the things that's going on right now, all these Karen videos with these white women yelling out and screaming and calling us nigger and doing all these types of crazy things and them shooting us down in the streets, they hate us and always have and always will. The Most High God is raising that spirit up in them now to show you his word is real. They hated us all the way back then, and they still hate us the very same today. Nothing has changed. Nothing. Nothing. And you better give the Most High God his reverence, praise, and respect. And you better look at him and tell him thank you and say thank you for showing us the spirit of these damn devils. Y'all can't beat this word. Nobody can beat this word. Now, I want you to go now to Romans chapter 12 and verse 18. See, I'm jumping back and forth. Old Testament, New Testament. All right. So once again, this is Romans chapter 12 and verse 18. All right. Watch this. I want y'all to understand something when I read this. I'm going to explain it afterwards. If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. Now I got to break this down. What does the Most High mean by this? First of all, even though they are out there doing these harmful things to us, all of these horrible atrocities, all these mean things, the Most High God is saying, all right, first of all, number one, I don't want y'all going out there and treating anybody mean. You don't have to be going out there and beating them up and causing them harm. You don't have to do that. Don't do that. All right? You don't have to be spitting in their faces. You don't have to do anything. Why? Because you're better than that. You are the light of the world. But I do want y'all to understand something here. He said, if it be possible. Now, that is something that they don't teach you, that the Most High God said, if it be possible. So meaning that if it's possible, be peaceful with him. So on the flip side of that, meaning if it's not possible, you got to do what you got to do. All right? You got to go to somebody's ass if possible. But as much as lieth in you, as much as you can take, as much as you can endure, be peaceful with them. All right? You don't have to be rude or anything with them. You don't have to go out there and start beating them up after you hear these scriptures coming out. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm telling you now, don't do that. But if they come to you in a violent way or whatever, then guess what you got to do? You got to defend yourself. Do you understand me when I say that? You got to defend yourself, and you have to know who and what you are, and we already went over that. All right. So now, with all that being said, this is the one I was waiting for. Because being that you now know who you are and what you are, and all the responsibilities that you were given. You were told to keep the commandments. You were told that you have to live a certain way, right? So now, with all of that, there's a little something called discipline. Okay? Now, this is where I need the parents. You need to raise your antennas now, because now this is for the both of you. This is not just for the youth, this is for the both of you. But everybody right now needs to be paying very close attention, especially the parents. Now, I want to go ahead and go to Proverbs Chapter 29 and verse 17. Proverbs Chapter 29 and verse 17. I'm going to read this to you. Now, remember when I told you earlier when I said that there's going to be some things that you would probably never expect? Oh, this is where it's about to get raw right now. All right, watch this. Proverbs Chapter 29, verse 17. Correct thy son, and he shall give thee rest. Yea, he shall give delight unto thy soul. Now remember, this is speaking in a male vernacular, but it's talking about male and female. So when the Most High says to correct your sons, it means correct your sons and daughters. All right? So this is for every parent, guardian, grandmother, whoever it is. Those of you that are raising children under your roof, not only under your roof, but just raising children in general. Okay? That you have a responsibility, parents, guardians, that you have to correct your children. And how do you correct your children? You correct them with the word. You have the responsibility and obligation to read the Bible to them and tell them who and what they are and what they're supposed to do. If you don't do that, then let's read it again one more time. Correct thy son, and he shall give thee rest. Do you understand what that means? That you will have rest. You will have peace of mind. Yea, he shall give delight unto thy soul. Delight unto your soul. Meaning all the way down into your inner being. If you raise your child correctly by teaching them the laws, statutes, and commandments. And if you have not done that, guess what? It changes today. All right. Now, let's go ahead and go to, let's jump back. Let's go to verse 15. Let's go to verse 15. Now, this is where I want you youth, our princes and princesses, you better pay attention right now. Watch this. The rod and reproof give wisdom, but a child left to himself bringeth his mother to shame. Now, I'm going to elaborate this on a lot more in these scriptures here. But the rod of reproof give wisdom. Now, a rod is a stick. And it says that this stick gives wisdom. But a child left to himself, meaning for you parents that just say, oh, well, I'm going to let the child do what they want to do. You know what? I am my child's friend. I'm a new age parent. I'm going to do things like I'm not going to discipline him physically. I just want to sit and talk and let them express themselves. We're going to see what the Bible says about that. But a child left to himself bringeth his mother to shame. And you realize it mentions the mother. Why the mother? Why the female figure? Why the queens? Because remember, the men are out there teaching. The men are learning the scriptures, teaching you the scriptures so that you can teach the kids. Your responsibility, your part. And a lot of you queens have failed your children. A lot of us kings have failed our children. We have. But guess what we're doing now? Now we're correcting it. Okay? We're correcting it. So let's now go to Proverbs chapter 22, verse 15. Proverbs chapter 22, verse 15. So now, the Most High God said that we left a child to themselves, right? Watch this. Foolishness, that's what it is. Absolute foolishness when you leave a child to themselves. Foolishness. Foolishness is bound in the heart of a child. That's what happens when you leave a child to themselves and you don't teach them these laws, statutes, and commandments. They become fools. Foolishness is bound in the heart of a child, but the rod of correction shall drive it far from him. So now it's getting down here. Now the Most High is talking. So guess what that rod of correction is? Guess what that stick is for? That stick is for that ass. So parents, if you've never known what this was in the Bible, the Most High God said to discipline your child with a rod. You get a rod and you put it to that ass when they are not listening. That's scripture. That is scripture. Do you understand that? Do you princes and princesses understand that? The Most High God said, for one, if you are being a fool, parents, go to that ass. That's what he said. That's what he said. You can get mad at me all you want to, but that's what he said. Now, I want to go to Proverbs chapter 23. All right, now go to verse 13. I'm going to show you. I'm going to back it up. So for those of you who feel that that's mean and that's a form of torture, no, watch this. Withhold not correction from a child. It says, do not hold back on the child when it comes to this correction. For if thou beatest him with a rod, he shall not die. You see what the Most High God said right there? He said, go to that ass. Tear that ass apart. And guess what? They're not going to die. You ain't killing them. Meaning that there's a way that you have to do it. You're not beating a kid in the head or anything like that. He said, put a rod to the back of the child. Whoop them. Ain't not going to happen to that child. They're not going to die. But if you don't do it, then you are making the child a fool. And guess what? When you stand in front of the Most High, you got to pay for that. You got to pay for it. Every child that you are raising and you don't put the correction on them that the Most High said that you're supposed to put on them, you are going to have to pay for that when you stand in front of the Most High. Just to let you know. Now, let's go to Proverbs chapter 13 and verse 24. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 24. Listen and listen good. He that spareth the rod hateth his son. I'm going to read that again. He that spareth his rod hateth his son, but he that loveth him chasteneth him betimes. The Most High said, if you don't discipline your child when they are supposed to be disciplined, you don't love them. You don't love your child. But if you do discipline your child, then you love that child. Point blank. Scripture. Absolute scripture. It's all right here in the scriptures And I want to make sure that I emphasize this here heavily. All right. There is a certain thing called discipline and there's a certain thing called abuse. Okay. Now I'm going to let you know right now, my mother believed wholeheartedly in the book of Proverbs, the book of wisdom, because when I used to get my ass whooped, for those of you, us 80s babies, y'all remember those broomsticks that they used to have back in the 80s? Those oak ones? Yeah. That's what me and my brothers used to get whooped with. And the mistake that we made was that was our softball stick when we used to play in New York. That was our softball stick. Now, this oak stick was cracking baseballs. All right? We're not talking about the little tennis balls. We're talking about the hard baseballs and knocking them out of parks. And I can't remember. I don't want to lie. One of us made the mistake of bringing it upstairs one day, and my mother was like, leave that here. You know, we like, nah, like we play baseball with this. Leave it here. And my mother did not skimp when it came with this commandment. And guess what? Here I am today. I didn't die, but I got my ass whooped and got it whooped thoroughly too. And I'm telling you, and I think I turned out to be pretty okay. And here I am today teaching our people the Lord's statutes and commandments. All praises to the Most High God. All praises. All praises. So now, let's go to Proverbs chapter 22 and verse 6. Proverbs chapter 22 and verse 6. And here is the instruction. Watch this. Watch this. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line with all this. The Most High God said, we have to train up our children in this word, teach them commandments, discipline them when needed, so that when they get older, they're not going to depart from this word. They're going to come back to it, even if they have their little rebellious time, which they shouldn't. But if they do, they're going to come back to it. That's the promise. But guess what? We have to instill it in them first. And if we don't do that, we're failing the child. Do y'all understand that? Now, I'm going to make this very, very clear when it comes to discipline. I don't want anybody whooping your child with a belt. Y'all know what that's all about. Whooping the child with the belt takes you right back to slavery. Because the Most High told us, do not provoke our children to wrath. Don't do it. Don't provoke our children to wrath. Don't do something that is going to piss our children off. That is why we have so many rebellious kids today. That is why there's so many rebellious children. That is why so many of our princesses don't go talk to their fathers or their mothers, and the sons don't go talk to them either. They don't go anywhere. They won't come to the ones that they need to come to, but you're going to do something that is so vile and so perverse, like slap them in the face or punch them or do something like that. That is not love. The Most High God gave you the direction. You're going to do all these things. You're going to pick up a belt and beat the child. And for our Hispanic brothers and sisters, all right, you got the madres and abuelas that take off their flip-flops and smack the kid with it. And then you wonder why the child is rebellious. You wonder why the child has this hatred towards his parents, towards their guardian. Then you wonder why your child, your 16-year-old daughter is coming home pregnant by a 30-year-old man. It's because of us. Because we don't do what the Most High told us to do. That's right. And I know that's very hard for a lot of you to accept because I know that it's happened to many. But it's the truth. We failed. We failed our kids. We cannot deny that. Look at the condition of them. Look at who their idols are. Look at the people that they look up to. When they should be looking up to you, parents. But even though we made those mistakes in the past, we're making the corrections now. Now we're making the corrections. And guess what? It's not too late. If you have air in your lungs, eyesight, a way to speak, you have your health. Even if you don't have your health, guess what? You can read. And take the opportunity now to really reach out to your children. And guess what? I want to attack your pride right now. I want all of you parents, even including myself, to apologize to our children for not bringing them up in this truth when we were supposed to. We got to apologize. Because they have to see that you're humble so that they can be humble. You got to accept you must make the example. All right? You have to give the expectations if you want your child to follow it. You can't be hypocrites. That is one of the biggest things that we can be, are hypocrites to our children. Because believe it or not, even if they don't like us, they are looking up to us. They're looking at what you do. They're watching everything that you do to either give reverence to it or to call you a hypocrite. And as we already know how the Most High God feels about hypocrites, he don't even deal with them. The hypocrite will burn. Y'all understand that? The hypocrite will burn. All right. Now, with all that being said, Israel, I'm so glad that we were able to do this here today. And for our youth, let me talk to you real quick before we go. To our brothers, let me talk to you princes real quick. I want y'all to start respecting these princesses and your queens. I want you to respect them. Let me tell you something. They are not jump-offs, all right? These are not Fatalinas. These are princesses, royalty, and I want y'all to treat them as thus. Get your lust in check, okay? You ain't beating nothing. No. If it gets to that point, then guess what? The one that you are seeking, you better marry her and put a ring on her finger. But guess what you got to do? You got to have some responsibility. You need to have a job, your own place, and bring her into a lifestyle that is produced by the Most High God. That's what you do. That is what you do. That's what a king does. Now, for you princesses, I want y'all to listen to me and listen to me very good. I want y'all to understand the true value that you really hold. Okay? I'm not saying that y'all are better than the princes, but you have a value that you hold. I want y'all to understand that. And let me tell you something. Y'all are not thoughts. Okay? Y'all are princesses. Y'all are royalty on this planet. Okay? Stop showing your body off to everybody because everybody don't deserve it. That body, when you get of age, is for your king. You need to dress modestly. You parents, start teaching your kids to dress modestly. Now, for those of you that buy their clothes, guess what? You are responsible for what they wear, and you're going to have to answer for it. The Bible tells, especially us fathers, do not prostitute your daughters. That also goes for the mothers. Don't prostitute your daughters. Don't do that. Make them wear modest apparel. And let me tell y'all princesses something. There is nothing wrong with dressing modest. Now, for when you dress like a hoe, that's exactly what you are going to attract. You're going to attract a whore man. You understand that? You are a princess that's raising to be a queen so that you can be in rulership with your king. For you princes, let me explain something to you, because they don't talk about this a lot either. A lot of these damn Thadalinas out here, guess what they want to do? They see that you are smart, they see that you are intelligent, and you're cute, and you're handsome, and that you got something going for yourself later on in life, right? These football scholarships, and that you are intelligent, and they know that you are going to be successful in life. So what they're going to do? They're going to throw that ass to you, and they're going to try to get pregnant by you, because all the money that you're going to make is all the money that they're going to take. Now, I know a lot of your parents won't talk to you about stuff like this, but damn it, I'm going to. This is real. So remember, you have to present yourself as a prince because you are being raised to be a king in rulership with your queen. It's about a mutual respect. And that is what our people don't have. We don't have a respect for each other, but we're gaining it, and it's changing every day. And your thought process has to change. And that's what I want to change about you. All right? Our kingdom is coming. It's coming. It's coming. And guess what? It's going to be here soon. So there's no time to wait. There's no time to waste. Let's get our minds right and get it right tonight. Starting now. All right? And with that being said, Israel, I love you. I'm out.